Exclusive contract novel from Feilu Novel Network. Voyage. My father Satan, I summon a night journey of 100 ghosts, crossing the world of pirates and becoming a heavenly dragon man. My father is still the 5-old-star Satan saint. The most important thing is that Satan lived for countless years, and due to his special nature, it was extremely difficult to have children. Therefore, as soon as K was born, he was extremely favored. It can be called a grand prize. Of course, K herself also has a clear understanding. I won't do it. What do I do against my own class? Revolution. Enjoying the benefits of the Tianlong people while hating them, what a stupid double standard. That's too hypocritical, not to mention, he also awakened the enslavement system and unlocked the spell series card pool. As long as he enslaved highly rated women, he could unleash weapon spells. Kill 2 birds with 1 stone. The leaky coral dressed in the remnants of the sun prison robe, the flower palace on the top that transforms into a Buddha, and the dagen with the magic of BashaFu Hei Shen Er. Xia Youjie. 2.5 Insights. At noon for 1 minute, the two sides stay together. Life is like being surrounded by ghosts and gods while holding on to beautiful women. Satan. Curse. 100 ghosts walking at night. Completely crush us. My son K, you have the posture of a new king. Feilu Novel Network reminds you that this novel and its characters are purely fictional. If there are any similarities, they are purely coincidental and should not be imitated. 001, The Tiredness of the Tianlong People, Whipping the Female Subordinate. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Until now, K Saint doesn't have many decent slaves. Do you want to learn from that guy Masquerade? Masquerade. The Don Quixote family used to collect Fishman slaves, but when they went to the Fishman island and saw E.g., their temperament changed greatly, and they began to sympathize with the Fishman. Tut tut. Don't daydream. K Saint, he's a slave who doesn't like shampoo land. Didn't he go out this time, just to find high-quality goods? What high-quality products are there in the lower bound? That's right, even if someone were to be sent to catch them, it would be great. Oh, K Saint is one of the 5 old stars, the child of Lord Satan Saint, the only direct lineage. Maybe he has a special eye and can really discover 1 or 2 high-quality ones. Cut, it's impossible. Alright, don't be so sentimental, be careful not to be heard. Our Mars Saint of the Marcus family is an environmental warrior god who also holds the pinnacle of power, so we are not afraid of him. And then, is it related to you? You're just a bystander, right? Red Soil Continent. Holy Land, Maria. The Tianlong people on the magnificent streets, you and I speak one by one, and as the central figures of their topics, they are now in the midst of the world. Far beyond imagination. East China Sea. In a turbulent sea. A specially designed warship is steadily sailing towards the Konomi Islands. The black bodyguard holding a gun on it looked solemn. If there is any wind or grass moving around, one will be vigilant at the first time. And the reason why they can treat them this way is naturally because there is an extremely important person on the ship. I dare not slack off at all. K Saint. We have already driven out of the windless zone, really don't need to notify. On the lounge chair, leaning against a young man. Beside the young man, there was a blonde beauty wearing a sun hat, holding a steel whip, and wearing a low-cut floral dress with a mini skirt. Her name is Peacock. She holds the rank of colonel in the headquarters and is a superhero with whip and fruit abilities. Her identity is the granddaughter of the Navy Chief of Staff, he. But recently, because of a command, he was called in to protect the 16-year-old youth around him. I only found out after coming over. It was someone who gave her a name and asked her to come, and the reason was simple. She had special abilities. In the weakest part of the East China Sea, there's nothing to be nervous about, not to mention, this is your naval hero, hometown. Pirates, isn't it a clean sweep? Or rather, you don't trust your naval heroes, K-Man said casually. The peacock was taken aback. Kay waved her hand and said, besides, your little report has actually been typed in advance. He came to the East China Sea without specifically telling anyone. Otherwise, there will be a lot of trouble. Subordinate. The peacock lowered its head slightly. The inner world is actually very lively. Small report. She did indeed hit. After all, that god of science and martial arts personally sent someone to explain the movements of his child. He needs to know at any time. Not to mention, running so far from the Holy Land compared to my son. Of course, it is the father's words that are more authoritative, especially this father, who is a son of old age, more precisely, over countless years. Due to his unique physique, this one grew up smoothly. All others died prematurely. Nowadays, it is natural to take this child seriously. How dare she not report in time? I forgot one thing, I only reported to the peak, but didn't say hello to the protected objects. So what are you playing with me? I've already notified you, but you're still pretending. Aren't you tired? Kai chuckled and opened his palm, as usual, since you report to him, I'll hit you. Turn around, don't block with dominance. The peacock remained silent and handed the weapon whip to the young man in front of him. Then obediently, he turned around. Pop. The peacock's body trembled. It's even heavier than last time. Pop pop. With one sound, one step at a time. She bit her red lips, clenched her 5 fingers in red gloves, silently enduring without saying a word. On board the ship. Dozens of black-clad CP elites trembled for a moment, then turned around and dared not look. This whip contains steel and can split stones in half. It's hard to imagine how painful it would be to open someone's body. Of course, Kay also has a good sense of propriety. I won't really crack my skin and flesh. But when it comes to standing up, it's still important to stand up, otherwise everyone wouldn't take him seriously and it would be exhausting. As for cherishing fragrance and jade. Not present. Men and women are treated equally. I have read so many novels in my past life, and some of them have become heavenly dragon people and even act as licking dogs for women, portraying heroes to save beauty. Whispering and cultivating emotions. Create a unique persona that sets it apart from other Tianlong people. Hee. Isn't this identity just for pleasure? Is it necessary? What were you doing with the dragon man that day? Pooh, hypocrisy. Kay's thoughts flew a bit far away. Speaking of it. He is very lucky. Just crossed over and was born as the only descendant of the 5 elders Satan Saint. In theory. Prosperity, wealth, and status are endless to enjoy. But sometimes, it can also be tiring. It's better to be an ordinary Tianlong person, living a more carefree and joyful life than him. Why? Due to Kay's special identity, she has to learn a lot, especially being discovered and possessing innate knowledge and skills. Highly anticipated. More tired after all, old Satan. After finally having a child grow up smoothly, he naturally won't sit and watch. He has become an ordinary Tianlong person, that kind of signature waste. Yes. Playing with things leads to despair. The more indulgent the Tianlong people are, the less they are actually valued. Referring to Jolin Saint, that is the true essence. So, swordsmanship, physique learn. Learn. The course schedule is full, not a single one will be pulled. Sometimes Kay suspects that the reason why all the descendants of this old Satan died prematurely was due to exhaustion. Of course, this is a joke. Those who were born smoothly, except for him, there are only a few accidents, and they are all under 1 year old. Actually, it's not much to be tired. After all, it's for my own good. The key is sometimes being protected too tightly and too restrained. At its worst, someone is even staring at me when I go to the bathroom. Who wouldn't respond? Wherever we go, there are always a bunch of people. Not letting go far, there is no freedom at all. It is more of a kind of friendly surveillance than protection. They are the eyeliner of their father, Satan. It's not much of a deal. But he knew that in 2 years, the Revolutionary Army would be unstoppable, and the extremely evil era belonging to pirates would begin. Nika awakens. Achieve the 4 emperors. When it comes to Beehive Island, the situation is even so serious that you need to join forces with the General Yellow Ape to deal with it. Who believes it? Actually, even if I believe it, knowing that K has the ability to prophesy will result in stronger protection, more inconvenience in movement, and is not in line with one's own interests. I don't have time to go out and surf. Sitting idly by for 2 years is definitely not enough. Fortunately, at the age of 16 this year, I have become an adult and my mobility has become much more convenient. Exactly. Not long ago, the enslavement system was awakened, and double happiness came. Yes, enslavement. If this system is used by others, it may be very troublesome, and even be treated as a mental illness. But Tianlong people are different. Finding slaves, enslaving others, it's natural, it's perfect. As long as the female character/beauty in the enslaved plot is successfully enslaved, they can obtain enslavement points on a daily basis, while maintaining slavery. Additional enslavement points will also be given as gifts. As for the role of these points, can be used to explode troops. Summon your completely loyal subordinates. Skip cultivation. Forget domestication. As the son of old Satan, he learned sporadically about the abilities of the 5 old stars and 5 old guys. They are all ghosts, and the awakened system, bound to the summoning card pool, is also a ghost, to be precise. It is a special ghost belonging to the spell battle. That side calls it, a cursed Qingming outing in happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 002, Slavery System. Summoning spells. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Of course. Being a physical, cursed, or sorcerer. Anything containing spell power can be drawn, but with a larger number of spells, the probability is also higher. Other features: there are also learning spaces, system malls, etc., but they have not been liberated yet. Get back to the main topic. Summoning requires enslavement points, as follows. Ordinary branch, 10.99, below level 1 spell, rare branch, 100.999, level 1 spell, elite branch, 1000.9999, super spell, legendary core, 10,000.10000, super special spell. K doesn't have much concept about these numbers. Because he had just awakened to the system, there were no female characters in the plot around him, including Peacock, and the system did not provide any prompts. Not belonging to the female lead of the plot. Slavery is useless. In short, at this stage, if the points are 0, we still need to enslave one and see how much we can get. That's also it. He began to contemplate his goals. Coincidentally, the system just released the task, which is also the reason why he came to the East China Sea. Remember here. He opened the system backend and selected check.in. Arrive in the East China Sea and sign in. If successful, you will receive 1 recruitment opportunity for, elite branch, completed. Do you want to recruit? The task is very simple, and it can even be said to be a benefit. Elite troops, valued at 1,000 to 10,000 enslavement points, correspond to special level spells. Divide according to the world of spells. Assuming that the weapon of curse power can damage the curse spirit. Level 4 spell. It is a miscellaneous fish that can be repelled with only a wooden bat. Level 3 spell. You can deal with it if you have a handgun. Second level spell. The shotgun can barely deal with it. Level 1 spell. Even if tanks are deployed, it is difficult to defeat them. Super spell. Requires weapons above missiles to perform carpet-style attacks in order to deal with them. In addition, there is a huge gap between the special level and the special level, and perhaps this is also why the system has separated legendary units. That is to say, super special level spells. This kind of strength is very simple, one person can destroy one country in a short period of time. Switch to the world of pirates. It is also a rare combat power, let alone something like comprehension unfolding, just hitting 100%. That's enough bugs. Also, the setting of a ghost-like thing like a spell here is far more complex than imagined. Without curse power, it cannot be injured or killed. What does it mean? It can be simply understood that a person without domineering power can only be confused when facing those with natural abilities. The only way. We can only rely on, see Tower Stone, this special tool can cause injuries. Do pirates have curse power? It's not a complete system, obviously not. Even if it can be stimulated, it cannot be utilized. So put the spell here. It is very likely to be an immortal existence. Without curse power, it is impossible to eliminate, this is a law and an advantage. Of course. The above are all speculations. What is the actual situation? We still need to give it a try. Don't think too much anymore. Kei took a deep breath and began recruiting. With a spell, combined with his current identity, his operational space will be very large. What you want to do will be more free. In an instant, only the perspective he could see stirred up a vortex. Ho-hote. The sound of swallowing from the abyss rang out. Not long after, creatures with strange appearances take a step out of it. He has a volcanic head on his head, gray skin, one-eyed and erect pupils, and his ears are stuffed with something similar to a cork. In terms of clothing. White plush scarf, wearing a yellow striped black cloak, black pants, and long boots. There's an old-fashioned, grandpa style. When I first came out. Looking at the unfamiliar environment. He was still slightly confused, as if wondering why he could still be resurrected even though he had already died. Do you still have self-awareness? However, after seeing Kei, she quickly understood and knelt down on one knee to show loyalty. Your Excellency. Thank you. Give me a new life. In the low voice of Louhu, there was a hint of excitement. He can be resurrected. So, do Tua Gen and Hua Yu also have a chance? You're welcome. Kei's eyes lit up. Lucky enough, it could even be said to be an explosion. I drew a big one for him as soon as I came up. Louhu the strongest among the 4 calamities of the curse. He has watched the spell battle and has a deep impression of it. Despite being beaten like that by Gojo and Soanoa, his true combat power is not low. The ability to recover is even more abnormal. With only one head left, even if the head is chopped in half, it can slowly recover. If you don't consider playing that kind of game, if it's a high-end game on the ceiling. Fully capable of dominating the battlefield. It is estimated that even among the elite branches of the army, it belongs to a stronger category. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 003, at the beginning, it was super. The strongest natural disaster. Louhu. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The thoughts twitched slightly. A brief introduction emerged. Louhu, level extra level spell introduction super level spells / natural spirits with wisdom 0. Spells without gender 1. A curse formed by human fear of the earth. If we calculate our strength higher, it is about equal to the 8 or 9 fingers of the 2 sides of Soanoa. Actual. 7 fingers, 2. Maintain strength to its peak state 3. Due to the unique nature of the world, the fear of the earth is unabsorbed and cannot be condensed into a curse, but the arrival of the leaky coral has broken this iron law. For him, it is completely undeveloped fertile soil. Absorption efficiency, 10-fold increase, 4. Entering the world of pirates for the first time, the environment is unique and has now broken through the bottleneck, possessing 8-finger strength. As soon as the cold sound of the system fell, the power of the leaking coral increased slightly, absorbing the fear of the pirate world and the island land from humanity. Breakthrough in place. Because it was too sudden, I didn't control my breath well, which led to some leakage. However, even if it's just a slight release, it also indirectly leads to a sharp increase in surrounding temperature, generating hot air. Similarly, the peacock, who had just been whipped, ignored the pain and quickly turned around to lock in the position of the leaking coral. Other sensitive black bodyguards. They all immediately turned their gaze. Strangely enough, nothing can be seen with the naked eye. But I can feel it. There is a twisted mass over there. Including the peacock, they didn't even notice it at first, but now they appear out of thin air. It's their dereliction of duty. Quick! Protect K Saint. The leader is starting to charge. Louhu lifted her eyelids and slowly withdrew them without moving, as if she didn't care at all. Shoo! The peacock is faster, not even able to pick up the steel whip, so it has to rush to protect K. That agile body doesn't seem to have been whipped before. However, it has just taken one step. Then Kai raised his hand to block it. The peacock steps stagnated. It's okay. K didn't explain anything. Of course, there is no intention of concealing it, just let them know that they are their own people. Black-clad leader, shocked and puzzled. The peacock also gave a meal. Come on. Follow my instructions. K took a long breath and commanded the people on the ship to verify his hypothesis. Everyone is in a daze. Follow the instructions and look towards the air. A few minutes later, the previous conjecture was as expected. Ordinary people's senses. Unable to detect the spell. The spell comes with the ability of transparent fruit, which can even be more transparent. According to the description of the leaky coral, as long as you want to hide it. Even if all human scientific instruments are available, they cannot be detected. Seeing and hearing the color is acceptable. But if the intensity is too low, it will be imperceptible. In addition, the cold weapons, firearms, and ammunition in the world of pirates are all ineffective against spells and cannot cause effective damage. Simply put, only magic can defeat magic. Unable to be eliminated, it will recombine after being blown away. The Domineering aura is somewhat unique, as the leaky coral blends a 5th-level spell. This is not difficult. The essence of incantation is the geometric form of curse power generated by human negative emotions. He applied some spell power and it gave birth. Continuing, let the peacock try its armor color and launch an attack on the curse, causing stronger damage with a hint of uniqueness. However, limited to this. After the explosion, the healing process is slower at most and still cannot be completely killed. I'm not sure about the dominant color. But so far, the existence of spells is equivalent to the existence of strange, bug-level rules. It's completely impossible to kill. That is to say, Kai continues to summon, and in the future there may be a group of subordinates who can never be killed. They are unique in the world of pirates. Continuously absorb negative emotions and become stronger. The resentment here is far greater than the world of spells. Instead of these things now, all due to identity, Satan, and various reasons, it is the people who protect him. K Saint, Konomi Islands, we're almost there. The peacock whispered a reminder. At the bottom of my heart, there are countless thoughts. I originally thought that she was the only expert assisting in protection during this delegation. Even if she reports to the top. Please notify Satan Saint again and agree to this trip to the East China Sea by default. If additional personnel are sent over, it will take some time to arrive. After all, I left in a hurry this time. But who would have thought that it had already arrived? And currently, it seems that they are still skilled at hiding, and it is unknown when they boarded the ship. Yes. The peacock believes that. This is sent from above for covert protection, given the importance of Hei Saint, which is very reasonable. There is no doubt either. After all, besides the manpower of the world government, who else can there be? World nobles. I spend most of my time in the Holy Land and have no time to develop my own strengths. The other black bodyguards have the same idea. Also, after being surprised unexpectedly, they unanimously agreed and didn't feel how abrupt the appearance of the top-level spell, the leaking coral, was. However, no one delves into the bottom line. This also saves K's trouble. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 016, black flashing. Phase immortality. Eagle eyes cannot. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Is it Jolin Saint, or that adult's backup? No. If that's true, I wouldn't even take the initiative to approach. Solve Crick. He doesn't know or value it, after all, he's a minor character. There's nothing remarkable about it. But Eagle Eyes are different, the world's largest swordsman. The span is too large. In small places, the more ignorant people are, the more arrogantly they believe that they can be challenged. It indirectly relates to Hei Saint. The situation is not right. If the conflict cannot be stopped, he will go to rescue as soon as possible. Learn. Zero Foundation. I'm not interested in playing with you. Eagle Eye glanced at the real person, turned sideways, and took a dagger and knife from his chest. Remove the sheath and gently stroke it. Shoo. The blade flashed past, and with lightning speed, it cut open the left arm of the real person. To show punishment. Perhaps it was before that I saw a good seedling named Sarong, who was in a good mood and did not engage in large-scale killings. But just as he was about to retract the knife, strange things have happened. Bang! After the sharp blade's right arm fell, it suddenly exploded like a balloon. Looking at the broken shoulder, there was no blood flowing out. Immediately after, a hand that was intact grew back. Eagle Eye paused for a moment. Can it still be regenerated? Is this sword energy? Ha, it feels great. I'll also try to simulate it. The real person swung his blue hair, jumping into the air with some crazy criticism, and swung a blow downwards. Can all fail? It has become a scattered wave of air. But as time passed, his waves of energy began to condense, and his blade became even more firm. Chong. Human fall, chop. Eagle's eyes are blocked with a small knife. Dong. Time seems to slow down. The standing broken wooden block sank several minutes and splashed a lot of water. This blow. If it weren't entangled with domineering aura, the dagger would have cracked. Yes, Eagle Eye used its dominance. Still continuing. The real person bounced out with force, showing another smile. Wait for another attack. Suddenly, a spinning blue sword aura emerged. Listen to the breathing of all things. The realm of slaying iron. Flying slashes. I have fully understood it through just watching it. Eagle Eye turned around completely and frowned slightly as he faced the real person. He admitted that he had misread. Moreover, it's not just an ordinary sight, but also a more youthful age due to the speed of learning if you are really a beginner. More hopeful, challenge his throne. Then let me see to what extent you can learn. As if discovering a new continent, the eagle's eyes burst out with more enthusiasm than when it came to dealing with Sauron. Slash the iron. Sauron, who was supported by his younger brother Joseph and leaning against the barrel, thought of his teacher Gengshiro. A realm mentioned. Feeling the breath of all things, relying solely on skills, breaking stones and breaking gold. Smooth like flowing water, effortless. When you want to chop, you can cut off the steel, when you don't want to chop, even the paper cannot be cut. Have you been comprehended in person now? Wait a minute. Sauron was somewhat stunned as he looked at the scene in the distance. That was a flying slash. Even. He also saw that when sewing men's double swords, it was incorporated into his own moves, making it easier and more flexible to use, and even improved. Change excellent. Impossible. Sauron gritted his teeth, and from childhood to adulthood in the dojo, his talent was unparalleled. But now a stranger beginner, not even someone who specializes in swordsmanship. Crushed him. No. In the professional field, he has started to rise to a level that he gradually cannot understand. He's definitely not a beginner. The collapse of this confidence. It's difficult for him to accept, and he can't accept it either. Is that just being domineering? I sensed it. Plus my hardness. After this domineering entanglement, can its hardness surpass that of a diamond? The real person tossed and turned, with their outstretched hands and blades covered in thick, pitch-black power. The power that distinguishes it from curse power is amazing. Inspiration keeps bursting out. Just take a glance and you'll know. Is it difficult? For real people, it's not actually true. Whether it was the black flash of Yuren Huzhang or the 0.2-second expansion of Wutiao, he was able to comprehend and learn at an extremely fast speed. Learning power is constantly increasing. Put it here, it's the same. But the real person doesn't know how shocking it is in the outside world that he thinks is normal. In a short moment. It has surpassed the years of hard work of ordinary geniuses. Ah! He can stretch and retract. Is it also rubber? Death is too broad. Luffy wearing a straw hat in the distance exclaimed in surprise. Because he saw the real person, he began to change in a strange and varied way, combined with the newly understood power. Stretch your arms. Ejection. Isn't this the ability of rubber fruits? Cool, however, looking back. Luffy felt a chill again. Due to the extended hand being blocked by the eagle eye with a dagger, the tip can still burst out several meters long spikes for a surprise attack. If I were myself, I would definitely be pricked into a hedgehog. This is the tricky part of the transformation of inaction. Can transform, change size, create clones, and launch various unexpected attacks as desired. More agile than parasitic beasts. Several times, because the moves were too extreme in the underworld, everyone felt that even the eagle eye was almost hit. Shwa shwa shwa. The speed is the advantage of making a move. Outsiders can no longer see clearly. This made the whole audience go from watching the play to stuttering, horrified, numb. The process spans rapidly. During this period, the real person was also immersed in seawater. Strangely enough, it jumped out of it again at such a fast pace that only a small number of people noticed this detail. But they also ignored the rule that capable people are afraid of water. Black flash. Under highly focused attention, the curse power of the real person stacks up with dominance. The error between the impact of strike, domineering, and curse power is within 0.000001 seconds, causing spatial distortion. The curse power shines with black light. Power increased to 2.5 power. Critical strike. Tear it apart. This knife is wrapped in black and red light. Shoo. Shoo. Under the surging force. The dagger in Eagle Eye's hand was unexpectedly released, thrown into the sky, and inserted into a nearby raft. People have also taken a step back. Yes, opponents who are skilled in swordsmanship cannot hold their sword steady, even small ones can be intimidating. Eagle's eyes felt the wave sensation just now and couldn't help but frown. Hegemonic entanglement. No, it's not right. Is there an incomprehensible power? Car overturned. This young man may not even be 20 years old, right? Quick, fast, fast. Meanwhile, 2 newspaper reporters frantically filmed this scene. At the beginning, they regretted not recording the entire process of the Sauron battle. Now. What Sauron? I've already forgotten about it. Not bad, but far from enough. Finally. Eagle Eye stops. From behind, he pulled out the supreme sharp knife, 12 Craftsman. Black Blade Knight. This indicates that he is serious. Then let me show you the true gap from the world. Eagle Eye noticed. In front of me, whether it's a broken hand or foot, it will recover, but as long as it's a person. There will always be a limit. If you put in all your strength and still use it without pain or itching, I won't be interested in you. The real person grinned, after all, you can't kill me. I dare to say so. The eagle's eyes furrowed its brows. In the East China Sea, there is no existence that cannot be killed by him. Shu hum. Gorgeous sword unsheathed. A few rotations. Instantly piercing through the approaching real person, the real person also froze in place, and then, under the gaze of the whole audience. Neat cracks appeared on the body. Finally, it turned into rows of shredded radish, floating in mid-air. Split into 4 parts, and behind him, even more terrifying. Under the dense sword energy. Originally belonging to Crick, the ruins of a large ship shattered even more thoroughly in the blink of an eye. Roll up a lot of air waves and seawater. Amazing power. Dead. It's all like this, isn't it? Nonsense. Indeed, the world's largest swordsman is out of reach. The whole scene is silent. However, the next second, the eerie continues. A real person with shredded carrots splitting side by side, giving birth to minced meat in the gaps and healing again. Perfect and undamaged. No injury, now, even eagle eyes have a headache. Sharp strikes are ineffective. For swordsmen, is complete phase restraint necessary? Is that guy human? Physical deformation, elongation, and almost immortal healing. And this learning talent, if not an epiphany, can be sustained indefinitely. What kind of fruit is it, balancing so many things? No, he's not afraid of seawater. The chrysanthemum face CP0 in the distance suddenly remembered that the stitched face had fallen into the sea once. Then, as if nothing had happened, he leaped up again. The performance is much more capable than that volcano head. He has a slight tingling on his scalp. As a top spy, he has seen too many people, too many races, and has never seen such a thing before. Not a capable person. But how to explain these abilities? When? Is there something like this around K Saint? My head is about to smoke. However, if it weren't for the dispatch from above, there would only be one possibility left. He instinctively detected the telephone worm. I plan to contact Galen Saint, but he cannot easily contact him unless it is necessary. But now there is, Suddenly, the chrysanthemum face CP0 paused. Following the remaining light, I looked towards a few rice grain dots approaching in a certain direction. That's a warship. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 018 Magino Persuasion. Have you ever seen? You are listening at novelfull.audio. Tina was just thinking that if she couldn't persuade Smog, she planned to use violence to bring him down. What else can I say? She can't even watch her best friend make mistakes and bury her future. After being interrupted by this familiar voice, Tina only then remembered. A warship has also followed. Especially the old man above, he is not an ordinary person. Although he holds the rank of Major General in the headquarters. But here. The entire naval community. No one would regard him as an ordinary lieutenant general, as a superpower of the old era. On fame. Even surpassing the current 3 great generals. Looking back, he defeated rocks in the Battle of God's Valley. Looking closer, he is the archenemy of the pirate King Roger. I have repeatedly cornered it. Outstanding achievements. He is a hero, a pride in the East China Sea, and a benchmark for all righteous individuals. I'm pulling it too far anyway, just now. Tina and Smog encountered his exclusive warship, but this person fell asleep. I can't wake up no matter what. Fortunately, when I wake up now, I can help her solve the problem. General Kapu. You come and hold him. Tina put her hands around her chest and breathed a sigh of relief, no longer worrying. Although this old man is out of tune. But hold on. Oh, of course you have to hold on. Smog, you don't need to go anymore. Leave this matter to me to handle. World aristocrats. I will bring back all those innocent women, one by one. Cap laughed heartily. It seems that the world's aristocrats, whom the world fears, are not taken seriously at all. But in his own heart. I added, most importantly, to bring Magino back, this kind of thing happened at my doorstep. He can't sit idly by. Otherwise, when we go back, let alone the old village chief, just a Dan will tear him apart. Tina's expression remained frozen. Are you going? Aspiration, are you still joking? Smog was extremely surprised and glanced at Cap. At the same time, the naval soldiers on both sides silently went down, and there was no need to remind them, as they knew it was not something they could listen to. Only Chi. Dumbfounded, holding his sword in place behind Smog. Hey, yes, this kind of thing. Indeed, we can discuss with the world's nobles to liberate slaves. Her voice is like a mosquito or fly. Unexpectedly, the elderly Cap still heard it and burst into laughter. I misunderstood the meaning. Smog's face turned black upon hearing these words. Discuss. Discuss with the Tianlong people. Dashi, if you have ever come into contact with them, you should understand. He was too lazy to waste his breath on this, but instead looked at Cap. You. Is the old man the kind of person who lies? Cap. Okay, since that's the case. Time flies, and Smog hesitated for a moment before making another decision. Let's go together. With Kapu present, it can also be considered a centering needle. In this way, even with the highest standard CP0 protection around the Tianlong people, it is of no use. Besides, a trip to the East China Sea may not be possible. I will also go with you, Mr. Cap. Behind him, the often absent and silent Deputy Bogart spoke, this is not a small matter, please make sure to let me accompany you. Cap fell silent for a moment. To be honest, like Smog, he doesn't want to involve anyone else. What is Bogart's strength? He knows it all too well. I have accompanied myself to participate in the Valley of the Gods, even though I am old now and can compete with the current 4th Emperor and the 2nd in command. It's not an exaggeration at all. Even better performance can be achieved. But, just make a quick decision. My original plan was only 60% certain, but with you joining in. At least 90%. The remaining 10%. It's considering that after the Tianlong man, he really angered himself to death. Finally blame us. Smog exhaled thick smoke and made bold jokes, but he didn't laugh. You really don't treat me like an outsider, Smog. Tina clenched her fists and exerted her power. Tina won't agree. Who do you think you can trap? Smog didn't care about her at all. Bolu. Suddenly, the private phone worm on Cap's body rang, and soon after, it also rang on Smog's body. They are all from the headquarters. But both of them coincidentally did not answer. Next up. Smog faced each other and began to tell the plan, while Bogart, not far away, occasionally added a sentence. Then quickly finalize it. Tina's beautiful eyes are getting bigger and bigger, when she doesn't exist. Watching the warship accelerate and get closer. She gritted her teeth tightly. I couldn't help but say, you bastards, you really made a crazy decision. You can report it, Smog said. You. Tina froze for a long time, struggled for a long time, and finally took a long breath with a complex expression on her face. Then, count me in. Even if discovered and punished afterwards, the average share will be less. Eat K raw. Due to poor information, they all treated K as an ordinary Tianlong person. I feel very confident. The only thing needed is courage. Are you sure? Smog took out a cigar from his mouth. Tina spat out the lady's cigarette. Biting off the black gloves with his mouth, the tacit understanding between the two of them goes without saying, don't talk nonsense, the plan you just discussed still has some smooth aspects. She helped to fill in the gaps. Looking at the two, Bogart lowered his hat. 2 colonels from the headquarters. A natural series, a superhero series. Just in case, we will include another colonel from our headquarters who we can definitely trust. 3. Plus him. And Mr. Cap. This lineup is guaranteed. If it's not for stability. He has a 90% chance of rescuing those female slaves alone. For justice. Time passes by little by little. Glass Island. This is not only the headquarters of the high-end brand Panda, but also the location. It is also a venue for many fashion gatherings, cross-dressing competitions, and song and dance competitions. There are even embryonic forms of anime exhibitions. Even if you dress up strangely here, no one cares. Close Subordinate likes it high. Even one of the 3 disasters of the 4 emperors Kaido, the epidemic disaster Quinn, has participated in a song and dance competition here and won the championship. Come out and take a look, it's really good. Unfortunately, it's daytime. If it were at night, it would be another scene, right? Kay strolled through the crowd. Louhu, the clone real person, and a group of black bodyguards are scattered everywhere, always following. A few minutes later. Arrive at a sparsely populated place and meet with peacocks and others. And in the hands of the peacock. Carrying a girl with orange hair, she is undoubtedly Nami. K. Saint. The peacock quickly apologized. If she runs away again, I will go back and punish you severely. K. stepped closer. Fortunately, everything went smoothly. So the next step is to wait for the battle between the real person and Eagle Eye to come to an end. Read this. He stared intently at Nami again. And Nami was also observing him, so, are you? I don't remember provoking you. Of course. If there is really something wrong, I can apologize. She forced out a smile. Say your wish, Kay said in the old way. The meat that reaches the mouth. It's better to eat it quickly. Nami didn't react. Kay is going to say something. Suddenly, the leaky coral beside her noticed something unusual and glanced back. There are 2 warships approaching this island. They both carry hostility. Curses act as curses, absorbing specific negative emotions for growth. I am very sensitive to this. Super-level spells, even more so. The range can extend to at least 1 island. At the same time, a white shadow flashed from Kay's side, which was the chrysanthemum face CP0. K. Saint. There are indeed 2 warships. He explained in a timely manner, I have contacted the Navy, but they cannot explain clearly. They are currently investigating. We will provide a response soon. But I think I guessed your identity. I came specifically to escort you. He noticed those two ships before, but they were too far away and he didn't get close. As for taking the initiative to escort and protect, it's not just groundless. There have been examples before. Navy. A navy has entered the island for evacuation. Notify everyone to go to the shelter. What's going on? It is said that there are pirates who enjoy killing and have hidden themselves on the island. They need to be investigated. What? A few passers-by hurriedly chatted and then collectively headed in a certain direction. Their voices. Naturally, it also spread to this side, and when I heard the chrysanthemum noodle CP0, my eyelids suddenly trembled. Escort us. Kay chuckled lightly. Walk in the opposite direction of the crowd, past the peacock, and signal to bring Nami along. His observations have long covered the exploration outside the island. Although the farther away, the more blurred the perception. But vaguely, I can still distinguish the outline of a dog-headed warship at the port. Whose warship is it? Don't think too much. Just think about it. I already know their purpose. Suddenly, a few figures flickered in the distance. Be vigilant. Protect K. Saint. Quickly, send someone over to take a look. There are black bodyguards on the line. Subsequently, more and more people were diverted away due to various accidents. Chrysanthemum Noodles CP0 naturally found something wrong. Immediately squinting his eyes, don't separate. Kay didn't say anything. You're really brave, naval hero. You're not afraid of the aftermath at all. Ha ha ha. Escape. Those idiots from the Navy actually think they can lock me up. Stop making noise, Bucky. Hurry up and find a boat to leave. Hey. It's so disappointing. Alrita, why don't you have any joy in surviving the disaster? Stupid. That's because they're chasing after me. On the warship in the port. A group of pirates seemed to have taken advantage of the negligence of the Navy, broke free from constraints and escaped, starting to run wildly. But there was a wave of Navy, always following behind them. The leader is Tina. Strong wind and light Buddha, spreading with thick fog. A few black bodyguards, unable to retreat. As if choked, lying on the ground, coughing hard as if trying to choke out the organs. Natural phenomena. Number 90% is fruit power. The peacock clenched its steel whip. Sunny and dense fog. If placed on the Great Route, it can still be said that the weather there is eerie and changeable, and it often affects the islands. But the key is, this is the East China Sea. And this ability she had a bad guess in her heart. Seeing the thick fog approaching, K. Saint did not refuse, and the peacock no longer hesitated. A shave. Rush into the thick fog decisively and disappear into place. And in the moment of entering, she knew she had guessed right, you. Before the words could be finished, the peacock's voice was buried by a burst of golden and iron chirping. I really ate the bear's heart and leopard's gallbladder. How dare you? Chrysanthemum Face CP0, also speculated, directed and acted by myself, using the gimmick of catching pirates. What exactly are we going to do? The more speculations there are, the more incredible it feels. Just to save the slaves. Don't you know? Wait, so far, K. Saint's travels have been made public. Those guys probably don't think so. He is just an ordinary Tianlong person, don't get close. After Kikumi and CP0 understood, he began to angrily rebuke, are your Navy trying to rebel? Do you know who you are facing? He is the Five Elders. Save some saliva, it's meaningless. The clone, who had been silent for a while, patted his shoulder and said, you're also stupid and cute. You've reached this point, will they still retreat? He won't say much more. With agile steps, we pushed the door for Kei and entered a strange tavern together. Of course, it also brought Nami inside. At some point, Louhu sat on the roof of the tavern, smoking his cigarette and looking ahead with a distant gaze. Below chrysanthemum face CP0. I don't have time to think too much, I see I have to follow in. But at this moment, the mutation suddenly emerged. In a corner, an unnoticed shadow suddenly shot out with a bright knife. Chong. The sound of critical strikes from gold and stones is heard. Chrysanthemum face CP0 hastily responded, pulling with both hands, forcefully wrapping and hardening, and grabbing the blade it welcomed. But the tremendous power it uploaded made his complexion change dramatically. My body couldn't stop regressing. You. The words have not yet finished. He was taken out 100 meters away. What's even more terrifying is that the shadow wearing a black hat suddenly erupted with combat power no less than that of a great swordsman. Inside the tavern. Unrelated personnel have already been cleared and rented out. Even the boss has left. Nowadays, on several benches, there are only women sitting with collars around their necks. That's right, it's Nokigo, Kia, and Magino. The door was pushed open. After seeing Kei, Noki's hanging heart fell, but the subsequent arrival of Nami made her heart ache. Nami. No, Noki is tall. Nami reacted. Grab your own. Are you exactly the same group as Noki Gao? Not waiting for the two to communicate. Kei interrupted them and sat alone in another place, quietly sipping hot tea. It doesn't look so nervous. Even when she had time, she continued to ask Nami about her wishes. If you can't think of one, then can I help you think of one? The clone of the real person grinned and took out the shackles. The two worked together. As long as you think, an unknown number of enslaved points will soon be exposed. And part of the reason why Kei is so calm is because of the high level that appears on Nami's body. Chong. Buzz. The sound of external fluctuations kept popping out, and when it reached inside, the few women listened to the commotion outside, feeling a bit uneasy. It's actually Magino. It seems somewhat unconventional. Because she could guess that someone had come to pick her up, which was also the reason why she had always been fearless. Mr. K. Regardless of your identity, raising slaves is not right, Magino habitually preached, treating him like Ace and Luffy. And her sudden words made Kuya and Noki feel a bit confused for a moment. Make good corrections, you can turn back. Magino was very serious, I know your nature is not. Miss Magino, Kei put down her teacup, have you ever witnessed the end of a pseudo-hero? Is that all? Outside the door. A colonel from the headquarters, who had taken off his naval uniform and changed into casual clothes, came here. Because of the particularity of ability. He was the first to find it, and at the same time, he understood from the bottom of his heart what to do. Is a CP0 guard the limit? It's really simple, I've thought too much about it. He wanted to continue approaching and tried to push the door. As soon as he lifted his foot, he noticed a fever all over his body, especially the top of his head becoming extremely hot. He instinctively looked up. Pupils, starting to contract sharply. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 007 Rootless Business Fire. Kate. I don't eat fish. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Yes, I left and ran. In the face of a life and death crisis, what kind of owner or boss is not important. With one blow, almost completely annihilate the Fishman group. Ha! The fire was accompanied by thick smoke, flying in mid-air. Various screams, and cries for mercy mixed together, gradually disappearing into ashes and dissipating on the human land they looked down upon. Intense heat waves swirled around. Even if the villagers retreated a long distance, their cheeks were still covered in sweat and their hearts were palpitating. Choke on one side. Unconsciously covering the child's eyes on one side. Troubled, the existence of their 8-year nightmare has disappeared in place. Leading village Dr. Gao. Police officer Ajian thought that a big war would break out between both sides, and the result, fruit-capable individuals. Starting from the air. Even though the person is inside, there is no movement. The peacock glanced inside, holding the hand of the steel whip, and slowly lowered it. She still needs to use weapons to solve it, but the people inside don't even need to move their bodies. Take one step to solve it first. Such endurance. No wonder they are qualified to sit down. It seems that the people sent by Shangfeng not only conceal their strength, but also their strength is not weak. In the East China Sea, there is such protection. To be honest, she has an indescribable feeling in her heart. Actually, Kay was also slightly surprised. The technique of using the leaky coral can ignite people out of thin air and easily solve ordinary problems, he knows. Even if the Fishman is stronger. Usually it can't be stopped. But the dragon and a few officials did not persist for long, which is quite surprising. At least he's a little boss. Is it a leaking coral? Has it become stronger? Well, perhaps in the future, as time goes by, it will bring him more surprises. Sir, do you really want to listen to the dragon and do it? Otherwise. You followed me all the way and took money. Do you still want to turn back now? No, that's not what it means. On the other side. There is a distance from the orange orchard. Colonel Mouse stroked his beard and walked slowly with a dozen or so navies behind him. Why not keep up with the dragon? I was thinking that if there was a conflict earlier, I would try to stay on my side as late as possible to reduce casualties. It's best to resolve the battle. They go up again. Low risk. I can still make some money for nothing. As for tracking down from above. He evaded Bailey a little more and went over without any involvement. An official one level above him. It's not that I don't understand this situation. Just. What Colonel Mouse never expected was that the person who came this time was extraordinary. Water, water. I saw a black figure nearly 3 meters tall, stumbling and running towards me, accompanied by a dry and hoarse sound. Don't come over. What monster? Warning again, don't get close. Forget it. Shoot. Shoo. Bang bang bang. Dot. Several navies saw this and all protected Colonel Mouse, firing several rounds. I found that the flesh of this black shadow is very sturdy. Not very easy to observe. And their firing rate gradually decreased, not because they were afraid, but because they saw the incoming person clearly. It's a Fishman. Fishman, was it burned like this? It's a bit funny. But no one laughed at the scene. As they approached completely, the fisherman fell to the ground and everyone saw his true face. Especially Colonel Mouse, he opened his eyes wide. Then he collapsed all over. Who else can it be? Evil, dragon. The sailors retreated one after another, their faces pale. How could it's not that? The dragon is so powerful that in the past, can the yellow ape catch it personally? Is this dead? It's been a long time. Colonel Mouse was only helped up by someone, and he slowed down for a few minutes. Trembling and trembling. Organize your clothes. Immediately thinking of something, he quickly commanded. Hurry up. Shoot a few more shots. Create a fierce appearance. Then, take the body of the dragon and follow me. Colonel Mouse gritted his head. Although I don't know the identity of the newcomer, having such strength is definitely extraordinary. It is highly likely to be from the headquarters. If this is not handled properly and the matter is exposed, we will have to go to military court in just a few seconds. He hurriedly arrived. While sending people to expel the villagers, he changed his face with a worried heart. Great. That's great. Thanks to the arrival of the adults, we were able to deal with the Fishman bullies who are entrenched here. This dragon saw him run. We helped the adults catch it as soon as possible and brought it over. As soon as Colonel Mouse approached, he was blocked outside. The peacock showed a mocking smile. She had just learned all about the situation here and remembered calling the East China Sea the Sea of Peace before. Make more faces. Colonel Mouse, send someone to carry the body of the dragon and ignore it. Slightly awkward. But soon. Seeing the person walking inside, dressed in high-end fabric and exuding a sense of luxury, the mouse's eyes suddenly lit up. Not very old. Did you send someone from above to gild? Okay, how deceitful. Perhaps one can still benefit from misfortune and swallow the dragon's assets after taking away the person. I believe this is the adult who got rid of the dragon. Thanks to your arrival. What a hero makes a young man. He lowered his posture and vigorously praised. While reducing one's own mistakes and avoiding the heavier ones, constantly hinting at something, are you from our headquarters? Dining inside. This is a lowly duty and poor hospitality. We will immediately arrange for the highest end here. He said. Quickly lay the groundwork in my heart. Surprisingly, there was nothing asked in front of me. How much can you come up with to avoid this matter? Kay interrupted like this. Colonel Mouse, on the contrary, was caught off guard. Upon hearing this, he was first startled, and then his eyes rolled and his smile became even brighter. At such a young age, I didn't expect to be an old fogey. It's true that one cannot judge by appearance. But this is better. The villagers not far away, who could vaguely hear it, couldn't help but feel a thump in their hearts. Colonel Mouse's waist gradually straightened. Glancing at them playfully, he then looked at Kay with a pleasing expression, 50 million Bailey. As your hard-earned money coming here. 50 million. No, it's 100 million, 100 million Bailey. 100 million. 200 million, that's really the limit, Colonel Mouse said with a painful expression on his face. Massive bleeding. However, when he thought about the industry of the dragon and the 100 million Baileys buried here, his heart instantly improved. 200 million Baileys. A small branch leader, they all have so much money. Kay's face showed no sign of a change in expression. You're very good at something. So, you said you want to entertain, so what dishes do you want to serve? Colonel Mouse thought he was satisfied upon hearing this. Suddenly he said, we have the most precious specialty here, the gemstone fish. Navy soldiers, several lieutenants, also breathed a sigh of relief. Well, I don't eat fish. Kay changes her face quickly. Before a few people could react, he took out a pure gold gun and stuffed it into the mouth of the mouse, pressing against its throat. Pull the trigger at the same time. Cover your ears with your hands. Bang. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 004, Konomi Islands, arrived and colluded in Treachery. You are listening at novelfull.audio. The Konomi Islands. Do you know what I'm doing here? In his line of sight, an island appeared, and Kay withdrew her mind from the leaky coral while looking to her side. The peacock shook its head. There is a village here called Kekiaxi. Orange, it's very delicious. Is your but still painful? If it hurts, don't follow along. Go and apply some medicine yourself, Kay said straightforwardly. If there is any trace left, it will not look good. The peacock's body stiffened slightly, but when he thought of something, he didn't feel any warmth. He immediately spoke normally, I need to follow you at any time to face unexpected situations. The warship gradually approached the island, passing through villages one by one, and Hosha town was also plowed once. The house is upside down, as if it has just been destroyed. Whatever you want. Get ashore. Kay withdrew her gaze and got off the ship first. These who receive the above commands are like pieces of wood, always following behind. Even if it's tough, swing a few whips. It's also useless his words are not without weight, but with more weight, pressing on top. That's the same, Kay always feels. What is truly in control is one's own thing. Konomi Islands. There are about 20 villages, including Kekiaxi village and Hosha town, which are under the jurisdiction of the 16th Navy branch. However, the current rulers are fishmen and evil dragons. After conquering many villages, they began to collect protection fees on a large scale, and then openly established the pirate stronghold. Dragon Park, it has to be said. Although they are fish people, they understand sustainable development. Hello, hello. There are unfamiliar warships. It looks extraordinary, there are so many muzzles. Reported to the leader of Ah Long. Under the cover of the park. Any passing fishing boat, merchant ship, or even naval warship cannot escape the watchtower of the fishermen. That's also it. As Kay passed by, they noticed it. Coincidentally, Colonel Mouse, from the 16th branch, is also in the park at this moment, with 3 sailors, and I don't know what they are doing. This is the portion for this month, please accept it. A serrated shark wearing a gold chain placed a stack of banknotes on the table. Gigi, brother evil dragon, your mind is completely different from ordinary pirates. I really understand the world very well. The colonel, wearing a mouse hat and a lewd expression, received the money in his arms without hesitation. Obviously, this kind of thing. I have already done it not once or twice. Ha ha ha. Let's talk about each other. As long as you are willing to be my friend, you can taste countless sweets in the East China Sea. Being able to understand this also proves that you are a smart naval colonel. The dragon sat with a golden sword and grinned, although I hate you humans very much, being sensible is different. Speaking in this way. In fact, he is a racist and has always believed that only fish people are the highest race in his heart. In my heart, I still despise mice immensely. If it's not useful suddenly. A mermaid ran over quickly, approached, and reported in a low voice. The dragon's expression was slightly surprised. Evil dragon brother. If you have something to deal with, then I'll. The mouse was about to leave, but a word from the dragon made him suddenly stop. Don't worry. Speaking of which, this matter is also related to you, the evil dragon smiled. A warship mistakenly entered here. A warship. Colonel Mouse raised his eyebrows. He didn't receive any news that other navies were coming. He put away his playful smile and said, there's something written on the ship. What branch is it? Who knows? But since you're here, you'll probably discover what's going on between us, so let's go together. If you can pass the time, give me some money to pass the time. If you don't know what's good or bad. The evil dragon grinned and revealed its shark teeth, with a ferocious expression. Let's work together to eat it, it said in the past few days. I have been collecting village protection fees all along, and this trip happened to be on the way. Brother evil dragon. Upon hearing that it was about to be annihilated, Colonel Mouse smiled unnaturally and said, my role is not significant, is it? Do you have to take him with you and completely tie him up? Really, even if there are warships that can cause trouble. With the current strength of the development of the evil dragon, sending just 1 or 2 fish-man cadres is likely to easily eliminate it. After all, the fish people are all monsters. Wrist strength is innate, 10 times that of humans. This leader, the dragon, is even more difficult to provoke. It is said that he once provoked the yellow ape and personally took action to capture it. Who is the yellow ape? One of the current 3 generals. The strength of the evil dragon is evident. In the East China Sea, it can really wreak havoc at will. No. Anyway, it's also your colleague. I have a navigator named Nami here, who hides tens of millions of Baileys at her doorstep. It's estimated to be almost 100 million. If you go with me, we'll divide it into 30%. How about that? The dragon waved its hand and began to summon the subordinates of the Fishman. Refuse calibration on mice. You can hear, Bailey, and still get tens of millions of shares, so you can't move and start confirming the authenticity with the dragon. A little girl, where did she get so many? They all go to steal pirates, so they have some skills, the dragon grinned. After accumulating for so long, it's time to harvest. So, as the Navy, representing the world government, I have the right to confiscate these illegal gains. Colonel Mouse coughed twice and straightened his posture, ultimately unable to resist the temptation. Haha, good. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 008, slavery successful. Strength feedback. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Just killed the fisherman and made him eat fish, intentionally disgusting to me. The body of Colonel Mouse, swaying and falling. Buzz, buzz. In the minds of several lieutenants, guns were still ringing incessantly. It should not be executed arbitrarily. Even if there is a mistake, we should follow the procedure, provide evidence, and let the military court try. There is a lieutenant who is not afraid of death, pretending to speak with courage. Then, as soon as he finished speaking, a flame lit up on him. Not just him. Afterwards, several navies treated each other equally and in an instant turned into ashes. Kay fanned her hand. It seems a bit disdainful, this unpleasant smell. Teach him how to do things. Don't mention the branch colonel, even if the colonel of the headquarters comes, he will be killed as if he were to be killed, to be precise, below the rank of general and alternate general. He has the right to be shot outside. As long as it is not on a large scale, there is the right to execute, just find any reason. No matter how serious, at most 2 sentences can be said. In terms of strength and identity. All are dimensionality reduction strikes. Of course, ordinary Tianlong people are not suitable, and their permissions will be much lower. After this operation, the risk assessment is changing again. All the villagers feel that Kay is a positive person. Including Noki Gao, although she believed that even a bad navy could not be killed casually, one size fits all, just as she instinctively wanted to thank her. Wow! The crisp sound of the dog chain colliding sounded. Noki forcefully tied a chain around her high neck. Her mind immediately went blank. Forgot. Help you fulfill a wish, just be my slave. Evil dragon, Colonel Mouse. Solve them. It should be your wish. Kay explained a sentence. It was so polite before, but now it's so real. As for pity, does not exist with the assistance of the system, the two have formed a binding agreement, which is a pledge similar to rules help fulfill your wish. As an exchange, if one day in the future, as a slave, Noki Gao dares to escape. So on her body. We will always lose things that are equivalent to our wishes. Emotions, organs, life, or anything else. Dogs, dog chains. What are you doing? Do you consider yourself a nobleman? Did you make a mistake? Did you misunderstand? Let's untie Nokigo. No, we can't take her away. The villagers are under stress, especially the village police officer Aegean. Whether it's Noki Gao or Nami. He took care of everything from childhood to adulthood like a father. It's all the children he risked his life to protect. See this scene. A protective heart completely overcomes fear. Kay is a bit impatient. Wave your hand. He won't be moved by anything, do something brainless, and won't wait for others to come and chop before taking action. But as soon as he lifted it up, it was grabbed by Noki's hot and soft hand. Don't do it. I'll go with you. But please don't harm everyone in the village. Noki regained her senses and shook her head to make a decision. She looked at the villagers and said, Nami has been helping everyone. But I can't do anything. This time. There is such an opportunity. Can I also help everyone? The dragon promised Nami that with 100 million Bailey, he could buy the village and his own freedom. Nami, hiding from everyone, became a petty thief cat. Now everything has come to an early end and all villages have been liberated. The cost, replace it with her. Isn't it the best outcome? The young man in front of me can kill the dragon and the villagers at will. It's better for her to suffer alone than for everyone to die. At least Nami is still here, that's enough. Don't worry. Your sister. It's also one of my goals, Kei added. Noki Gao. The noise gradually subsided. The villagers understood this and impulsively continued, telling them rationally that Nokigo was right. If you die, you have nothing. Even family members will be affected. Only Ah Jian is persistent. Pinching his fist and wanting to say something, he was whipped by a peacock and flew several meters away. That dragon, there's still breath. Isn't he a self-proclaimed high race, tied to the stern of the ship? The orange has a good taste, transplant one onto the boat. Kei retrieved the golden gun, put one hand in his pocket, and stepped on the ground. Let's loosen the soil here, maybe we can dig out some surprises, she said. 100 million Bailey, not for nothing. Although he is not short of money, it can bring Nami over, plus her sister, double insurance. For the sake of enslavement, for better explosion of troops. Disappointed. Kei glanced at Nakio, who was on the explosive collar, and casually held her hand. I'm not the kind person in your eyes, she said. The words have just finished. The system responds with a sound. Successfully enslaved, B.level female character Noki Gao, obtained 350 enslaved points. First enslavement. Triggered 10 times critical strike. Gain 3,500 enslavement points. 10 times the chance of critical strike. Get a chance to draw a special ability. Extracting. Ability. Feedback. Note. Any newly summoned spell/sorcerer will receive feedback of 1/10 of their own power, including spell power, body spell, perception, to you. Note 1. This feedback does not weaken the summoned object's strength, Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 019, the reaction of the Warring States period. Let go of the leaks in your hands and feet. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Do you still have hidden hands? The abilities of concealment and transparency. Do you think I can't detect them? Don't underestimate people. Hey. Colonel of the Navy Headquarters. It's not a branch colonel, it can be compared. Almost all of the 6 styles and dominants can be found, not to mention in the East China Sea. Even if thrown into the other 3 seas. With all the strength, one can also occupy a place. Being a bounty hunter will make you famous. Working in a mafia can make you a leader. Falling into a pirate is the existence of domination. No matter what you do, they will all be snatched away by a fierce competition. Also, although there was some pressure, the colonel didn't even want to dodge the blow from above. Plus his mission, it's just delaying someone. 6 styles. Steel lift. Don't think too much anymore. He spread out his palm. Raise your arms. The muscles start to beat, combining the 6 techniques with dominance, and suddenly lift upwards. Just this momentum. Even if Mount Taishan pressed down, he could block for a few seconds. However, When he grabbed the raw feet with both hands, he could clearly feel the impact it brought, and his face suddenly changed. Bang! Just in contact. His proud arms trembled violently, and a terrifying force swept through his body, unleashing waves of energy. Conducting limbs, conducting organs, conducting downwards tear it apart. Feet sinking and ground cracking. 3 meters. 5 meters. 10 meters. Dozens of meters. The first one. A strange hoarse voice came from above. At this moment, the colonel of the headquarters who lowered his head was also forced to spread his arms and was firmly stepped on in the head. When the eyeball flips, the pupils turn white. Instantly losing consciousness, unable to connect. Whether it's Lieutenant General Cap, Deputy Bogart, or any communication specialist on a warship with a telephone worm. I can't connect to anything. Blocked. Not blocked, signal confirmation has been transmitted. Colonel Smog sighed, there has also been no response. What about Colonel Tina? She always. Colonel Tina, too. Marin Fando, Navy Communications Department. Hurriedly reported this news to the Marshal's office. Actually, the people here in the office. I have already contacted you in advance. If it's not impossible to connect, we won't hand it over to the communication department and use a stronger signal to call the worm. Damn it. That guy Kapu. Is it a rebellion? What does he want to do? The one with a seagull hat on his head, the highest general of the Navy headquarters, the wise general of the Warring States period, was so angry that he almost smashed the table. Seeing my old friend's excessive emotions during the Warring States period. He furrowed his brows slightly and realized something, perhaps. More serious than imagined. I will send someone immediately. It's already late, Ahe. Who can rush over to the East China Sea as soon as someone else is there? Even the closest one, no one can stop him. They don't have that strength. The lungs of the Warring States period were about to explode. Not long after returning from the Holy Land, this kind of thing happened. Can you be more worry-free? When Cap refuses, the outcome is already predetermined. What should be considered now is how to handle it in the future and how to compensate back. In fact, in his heart, he can understand Cap, but he doesn't agree with doing so. You're so kind, at least talk to me about it. You've made it so radical not saying anything, just recklessly going up. Be a child at home. If it is an offense, there's still a chance to save him. After all, he's a naval hero and it won't look too ugly on top. He sighed and said, I hope there won't be a big conflict and serious injuries to the government-appointed attendants. And these people who participated in the action. Be quiet, there is still a chance to turn things around. Bang. Glass Island, this side of the tavern. Falling, shockwaves scatter in clusters. Waiting for a volcano-headed man inside who was not tall but powerful and had a mysterious appearance, he waved his hand and walked out. The dust and smoke also dispersed, revealing the dying person. That is, a casual colonel. He can no longer be called a human, but rather a pool of rotten meat, perhaps more aptly. Broken teeth and bleeding from the head. With a crooked neck, arms, and legs, all in a strange posture, the fracture twisted. That's right. Being subjected to pure downward force. One hit, second kill. One by one. One by one. It's all outrageous. I can't even figure out my own position and identity, it's disgusting. They curse, at least they won't betray. Bolu Bolu. Wave Lubo Lulu. Louhu glanced at the phone worm, which was fragmented and constantly calling, and directly stepped on it, starting to step forward in the foggy area. I should have thought of you, Smog. Do you know the identity behind the person you robbed? Alright, Peacock, I don't want to hear this. If you intervene now, do your best to stop me. Smog transformed into a smoking man. Utilizing the unique advantages of the natural system, I am adept at navigating under the steel whip of the peacock. On the other hand, peacocks. There is thick smoke all around. Not only do you need to hold your breath, but you also need to constantly lock in with your sight and smell to prevent a surprise attack. In addition, I am also anxious about the movements behind me in my heart disadvantageous protection. In addition, with poor control measures, the label of releasing female slaves was put on, and her career was also ruined. Yes, unconsciously. I have started to approach K instead of thinking about liberating female slaves, without even paying attention to myself, and my original intention has changed. By man. Smog is in neutral. Taking advantage of the peacock's distraction, he controlled the smoke and directly imprisoned her. His military rank. Although he is still a colonel in the headquarters, his hard power has already surpassed. Make good use of the advantages of the natural system. Below the rank of Major General, there is basically no threat. Call out. The wind is howling. Just as Smog drew out his 10 hands with Sea Tower Stone, embedded at the top, intending to win with one move. His upper front. I don't know when. A expressionless figure appeared. Hoo. He turned his palm sideways, extended his left hand, and immediately produced a spinning small fire dragon roll. The speed is far beyond what Smog can handle. The second one. Before he could finish, he murmured softly. Smog quickly unfolded his elementalization. Just as it was about to disperse, it was then converged by flames, forcibly revealing its physical form. Smoke and fire collided. Reaction occurred. Bang. After the fire dragon roll is thrown down. When the leaky coral landed again, it had already stood behind it. Half a second later, hula. A flame containing strong curse power erupted on Smog's head. Dilyang. This repeatedly red and yellow light, in the rolling thick fog, is like a super strong light. Keep burning. Keep burning. The high temperature easily twisted the air within a range of 10 meters and plunged it into a semi-vacuum. After a few seconds, Smog, who is over 2 meters tall and has a burly physique and natural abilities, took 2 steps back. Shaking and falling. Bang. When the black smoke subsides, it becomes a completely burnt face. Under intense high temperatures, not to mention skin, eyes, nostrils, mouth, ears. They have already become unformed. Still a blow. Simple techniques, not flashy actions, but causing the greatest damage. Louhu continues to move forward. Not at all dragging around, as if it's just a passing solution. At the same time. Thick fog covering large areas. And gradually disappeared with his departure. The peacock resisted the incoming heat wave, waiting for her to be able to withstand it a little longer. I also saw lying on the ground, unmoved. The air fell silent for a moment. Her lips were tightly closed, and her face was as pale as paper. Just now that was Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th. 005, First Enslaved Object. Noki, hi. You are listening at novelfull.audio. Kekiaxi Village. After leaving some people stationed on the warship, the rest followed into the village, but as they delved deeper, they saw more and more villagers. The peacock's willow eyebrows are getting tighter and tighter. Poor construction, vigilant gaze, tired expression. And before. The neighboring village that was destroyed. The East China Sea doesn't seem to be as harmonious as imagined, but beneath the calm waves, it actually hides a surge. And the people who come here, Saint, is it really for eating oranges? Did you go this far specifically? Did you happen to pick this one again? Children. The peacock restrained his thoughts and wanted to talk to the nearest child, but they ran away directly. However, I took 2 steps. Ding! A gold coin was thrown down from the sky, and the child immediately stopped and opened his eyes wide with joy. This one is worth tens of thousands of Baileys. What I usually get from my parents and buy snacks is at most 100 or 200. Now it has increased 100 times. On weekdays, I've never seen so many at the same time. Kay crossed the stunned peacock and came to the child. If you want it, pick it up, she said. However, you have to tell me first. Where is Nami's house? Picking up a big bargain, the child quickly picked up the gold coins and instinctively pointed in a direction. After pointing it out, I regretted it again. What are you looking for her for? She's a subordinate of the dragon. The child nervously said a few words before running away. You are outsiders, hurry up and leave here. Kay put her hands in her pockets. Louhu followed behind on the side, leaning on crutches with both hands, like a calm old man. Hate, killing intent, anger, these negative emotions are all floating in the air, but due to the lack of a crucial link, they cannot breed a curse. It's really a different world. He was one-eyed, looking around unintentionally. You guys, go ask those villagers. Peacock found a black bodyguard and instructed him to ask someone about what happened here. I immediately paid him some money. Money leads the way, obviously it is more convenient. Say it. The peacock followed closely behind and soon arrived at an orange orchard, where there was a family. There are faint shadows inside. Purple hair, don't wear a red headband. Blue tattoo. Vest, pants, and home flip-flops. As they approached, they became clearer, with a slender figure and decent appearance. Looking at Kay's expression again, with those slightly bright eyes, Peacock instantly understood. Sure enough, the meaning of a drunken man is not about wine. Tianlong people are all virtuous, and if they are interested, they will marry. Just this one is more persistent. Come directly in person. However, she did indeed misunderstand Kay. The reason why the eyes light up is not because of hunger and thirst, but because they jump out of the system prompt. Noki value, B. Level, status, can be enslaved. Tip: successful enslavement can earn a certain enslavement point and has a probability of obtaining special abilities. The conditions of slavery are as follows. 1. Regardless of size, fulfill one's wish, can be forced to do so. 2. Wear locking handcuffs for it, choose any collar, handcuffs, or ankle handcuffs. Note: if the above two requirements are met, it can be determined that the enslavement was successful and the enslavement point was obtained. Noki Gao is considered a female character in the plot and is most likely associated with Nami. Finally met one. It's a bit regrettable. Master Nami, doesn't she seem to be at home? Well, it's not urgent either. First, handcuff her sister. Just as Kay was pondering, Nachi noticed something and came to the door to ask softly, "Are you?" "I am Nami's friend." Kay walked forward naturally. "She's not at home, is she?" "Speaking." He waved his hand and asked the two black bodyguards to guard outside the door, leaving only Louhu and Peacock to follow. "Would it be convenient for us to come in as guests?" "Pang, friend." Noki was taken aback for a moment. "Nami, there are no friends." Black-clad attendants, female subordinates holding whips. These outfits are definitely not ordinary people. Is it? Did someone find the door when they were caught stealing money? Noki Gao, who was lost in thought, flicked her hair to ease her nervousness. At the same time, she welcomed the person in and politely served a plate of oranges. "Well, Nami is currently not here." She didn't want to lie. She said she came from the wrong place and didn't know people like Nami. Since they come to visit, they must have some understanding. Then wait. Kay handed an orange to her side. Try it. There's not much war right now, and there aren't many strong ones here. Just relax. Next up. In Nokigo's eyes. The orange withdrew straight from the hand and slowly floated in the air. Proactively separate, peel, break, and break. Transformed into juice and disappeared. It seems like an invisible person is biting. Noki was stunned at the sight. Coincidentally, it's time for the meal. I think the dishes are all washed, so let's add 2 more pairs of chopsticks. Kei's voice suddenly brought Nochi back to her senses. This tone. Rather than being a guest, it is more appropriate to say that it is an order that cannot be refused. Noki remained silent for a moment before going to the kitchen. Add 2 pairs of chopsticks. The peacock glanced at the empty seat. It is obviously prepared for this invisible person. How long have you been here? Do you have any special abilities after being so familiar with it? She is still standing, and there are no oranges. It's like more trust. Completely treating oneself as one's own person. Based on previous signs and unfamiliar situations, it should be the first time we have met. Noki is tall. How did these people get here? As time goes by. Outside the door, a dense sound of footsteps suddenly rang out. Qingming outing and happy reading. Charge 100 and get 500 VIP coupons. Immediate recharge, activity period. April 4th to April 6th.